tribe, and thank you for being here today. If you're watching this on the replay, put hashtag replay down in the comments. If you're watching us on YouTube, make sure that you comment. And if you're watching this on demand, then make sure that you stay engaged. We're going to have an amazing conversation today. We know that e-commerce is taking over. When's the last time you ever thought about going to like Walmart for Black Friday? It doesn't happen anymore. I don't know about you, but I'm always getting Amazon deliveries to my house, one after the other after the other. Well, I have a treat for you today. We are talking to a complete expert on how to navigate the Amazon sales system for your product-based business. I'm going to give him a moment to introduce himself, and then we're going to get into all of the questions that you all submitted online.
Yeah, so I'm Jevon Howell, and that was an amazing introduction. I've never think I've had such an amazing, glamorous way of seeing myself. My name is Jevon Howell. My company, Shop Howell. We're an e-commerce agency, and we primarily specialize in helping small minority-owned brands launch and scale in e-commerce, right? We understand that, e-commerce marketplace and the ecosystem itself is becoming more competitive and more complex. Everything from AI, machine learning, everything is revolutionizing the space. And so my company, we had our start initially where I was, doing the standard flipping products, just like at the start of COVID. And then we scaled into doing wholesale on Amazon. And then we essentially, we working with some brands. We kind of slowly realized that many small brands, primarily minorities, were struggling to get ahead, even in this new environment. And so it started off as just literally thinking it was going to be like a small little side project. And then little well and behold, it became sort of like our whole business. And so we basically help with everything from the ads budget spending to basically try and help with their branding and design. Many small brands we've seen struggle in this area. And so we have basically a production team that we can essentially help put your brand looking stellar, looking phenomenal, and helping you get those eyeballs that can help your product get seen and sold on the platform.
Thank you so much for being here. And again, if you're watching this on the replay, make sure you put hashtag replay down in the comments. And of course, you're here with us live. Do not hesitate to ask your questions. We'll make sure that they get answered. If they don't get answered right here in the conversation, we'll be sure to do so inside of the comments. So don't be shy. Go ahead and get to texting. All right. So a natural next step is now, how the heck, Vivian, why do you know all these people? Well, I am an advocate for leaving your damn house, okay? Leave your house and participate in all of the different conferences that exist out in the ecosystem. We have an amazing relationship with the Black Professionals Network here down in Miami, Florida. Shout out to Kanasha Paul. You are amazing. We love you so very, very much. And so we learned of each other at that conference. And I will never get tired of encouraging you to leave your house as a proud extrovert who struggled through the pandemic, being away from all of you amazing people. I encourage you to leave your house. So first question, how is what you're doing different than other cohorts that claim to be able to teach people drop shipping? Is this even drop shipping?
No, and so for us, we don't focus on drop shipping because that's something, and I want to clear that one out, right? I know many people have been doing these different ways of making money on Amazon, and frankly, there's a lot. And dropshipping is a very common one where essentially the idea is, and let's give you a simple one that's usually done, is let's say something is selling on Amazon for $40, but the normal price on eBay is $50. So you put up a listing on eBay, and when someone orders it for $50, you'll just buy it from Amazon and put their address. And so you pocket the $10 difference. Right? And so this was a very common, very easy way to make money because you have no inventory. You're literally doing nothing. And basically Amazon, we already know they ship everything in their Amazon Prime shipping. They're doing the free shipping. They're doing the box, everything. So it's a cool way to make money. The problem is people have basically took that and systemized it to the point where it's basically like, unless you have your own like computer system and a team to manage all of it, jumping into drop shipping by yourself might not be the most effective way of making money because personally, I think for a lot of people, they kind of think about Amazon as a place to quickly go make cash. I have good products. Amazon has billions of customers. Let me go put my products there. Of course, you're going to be sold. And so how we're different, we try to tell you that, first of all, this is not a get rich quick scheme, right? This is honestly a business. And as I just mentioned, Amazon is getting more competitive and more complex, meaning you have to be more strategic in how you do things. So for us, and the way we work with many of the brands is, for most brands that are agency that try to work with small companies, well, first of all, let me just say that they usually don't work with small companies because it's very expensive, right? So our team try to be different by one, trying to focus on building a brand up and working with you as you grow. So just to give you an example, several of our brands we've worked with literally started off from almost scratch. Like one of our brands, Ella and Iris, she literally started off with just a logo, right? Literally like as bare bones as you can get and just had an idea. We started off building her product labels, right? Having her have essentially her brand guidelines, basically what does her brand colors look like? What is the style, the typography, everything, building that out. Then we built her website, and then using all of this, validating it, we then worked on her Amazon. And we kind of would work with her in those stages. And so with many of our companies we work with, they're very similar, right? They usually come in with having one or a few pieces of the entire puzzle, and we basically try to fill in those gaps primarily with the brand, the design, and making sure that the products look spectacular. And one of the nice words I like to always say is we always want to make your brands look iconic, because online people shop with their eyeballs, right? People use their eyes to shop, right? People can't really interact with your product physically like they can in the store. They can't just pick up your product, hold it in their hands, and turn it around. So for us, the key thing is really making sure that your product, not, like let's say you're selling, let me talk about the hot sauce we work with, a shea butter,
Well,
right?
tell me, can you go back and say what is the product that you just mentioned a brand? Tell us what the product is.
Yeah, so
So that
Ellen
we kind of
Iris,
can find it.
they sell Caribbean inspired home scents. So basically, they sell everything from room sprays to um, the diffuser oils. And so
Okay.
essentially, even just thinking about that, right, we had to figure out how do we make sure this thing looks amazing, how to make sure it looks inviting, how it looks fragrant. And those are some of the small things that we see a lot of times brand owners miss, right? Because we're all experts in our own companies, hopefully, right? But that's the goal. We're supposed to be experts in our area. But the thing is, the customer on the web doesn't know anything about you. And so the key thing that we always see many times that people miss is that they fail to explain. They fail to get behind the why people are shopping. And so think about the last time you shopped on Amazon, right? Usually scrolling down, you probably never leave the first page, which is something to keep in mind, right? But you always click on the thing that catches your eye. So we try to make sure that what you have looks amazing, looks phenomenal, and it makes someone want to click, and basically eventually go to the page, be compelled by the features that we highlight, that we try to tailor make for your audience. And then basically once they kind of say, this looks great, it sounds good, let me add it to my cart and press buy, right? That's the end of the day what the whole process is meant to be. But many times we've seen that people either fail to really kind of communicate the value, or they add values that don't communicate well with the customer. Just to give you an idea of one company that we interacted with a few weeks ago, they had basically what's it called, a probiotic. But I can read the list of benefits that they had. That thing had everything from constipation to depression to basically, my team were saying, like, is it going to walk your dog too? Because they had literally a list that was like 2 columns worth of benefits on their picture. And I'm like, your
Come
product
on.
does everything, right? Which makes you feel like,
It does nothing.
exactly. And so some of the small things that we kind of feel about our products, that we need to understand that we have to think about what the customer sees and how they interpret information, and try to put ourselves in their shoes. And so that comes down for everything from the features to honestly, even the review count, right? You can't sell products without reviews. When's the last time you bought something with no reviews, right?
You mentioned that some of the brands that you worked with, they came with just a logo and an idea. So
Correct.
what is the ideal time to come and connect with you all? What are some of the mistakes that other product-based businesses are making when it comes to building out that process from idea to product to selling it, getting it running on Amazon?
Got it. I would say have the right expectations. And I know that's kind of like expectations, but I think that's so important because I think so many times people come looking for kind of like a miracle, right? They're like, oh my God, I'm struggling. I need something that's going to get my sales up overnight. And it's like, when's the last time you've seen overnight success, right? That's
Doesn't
something you
happen.
see on TV. And so a lot of times people don't recognize that it really comes down to the budget that you have. And it's not even really paying us, it's basically paying for the ads, right? In the past, when Amazon was a little less known, let's say a year before COVID, or just say pre-COVID to be simple, you can usually go on Amazon and use ads and pay relatively respectable amount of money and get a lot of results from it. But now ads become more competitive. And so basically, the general time it takes for a brand to get well ranked, and that means basically getting closer to the first page, right, where everyone buys, that's taking longer. And it usually would take, let's say, about three, 3 to 6 months, depending on the amount of money you're willing to invest. And so, just to give you a ballpark perspective, some of the brands that are doing decently well, they're probably spending sometimes even like $100 a day on their ads. You
And
know,
those ads, to be clear, because in this world we talk about money, we're all about helping women get to the money faster. We've talked about
Mhm.
Facebook ads, Google ads, LinkedIn ads. When you're talking about ads, what kind of ads are you talking about when it comes to
Yes.
this Amazon sales?
Talking about Amazon ads, I'm not talking about Google. The ads are basically how you're going to get people to see your product in the beginning. Because since most of our products that we work with usually, and I guess just to specify that, most of the brands that we work with usually starting off from Amazon either from scratch or very early on. So they don't have like a lot of times even 100 reviews to their name, which is why they have to be extra careful in the early months, right? Amazon makes it easier for you to rank up in the first month. So basically, it means that it's on you to try and drum up as much traction as you can, get your friends to buy it, your family, and basically write good, compelling reviews. You need to basically have photos that they can post showing the product in use, basically trying to instill enough confidence. Because many times people try to go on Amazon and they were like, oh, I'm shy. I don't want to ask my friends to help me get a review. But then 2 months later, when you have like 2 reviews on your product, you're like, why am I not getting any sales? It's like, would you buy a product with two
No
reviews?
reviews.
Exactly. And these are some of the small things, right? Have the expectations. You need to basically be a business that's ready to show up and get down to business. Know that this is not going to be a get rich quick scheme. Even if your product is doing good in retail, that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to translate well to online. So, just give you a perspective. One of the things that we do for every customer is we do a market research. So, basically, if you came in with a product, let's say you're selling this little cup, right? This little blue mug. We want to look and see what is the mug market overall on Amazon. What's the market size? Because that's the people buy what they know. People don't buy usually things that don't exist. That's why they have a search field, right? Amazon is a search engine, just like Google, but it's search for products instead of websites. So they're going to look up. Let's say we're going to look up and see how many people are searching for mugs, right? If we see that there's about, let's say, probably going to be like 100,000+ people looking. That's great. Then we're going to try to see, okay, what makes your mug compelling, right? Because by the way, if there's that many people searching for it, that means there's probably a ton of products. So it's how you're going to differentiate yourself. And then
Mhm.
that's the next stage, differentiation. So if your product, you're just selling something and you're not trying to differentiate it in any way, that's already a red flag to us. So, for example, as I mentioned with the earlier one, where the person had so many different benefits that their pill did, it was scary because no one's going to buy a pill that does everything unless you're probably, a little bit, I don't know, you're really sick. But
Yeah, he's like, I'm just gonna listen. I'm
people
just
are
gonna give it to God. Whatever this can do, I
people
want.
go in looking for something specific. So you need to basically be able to nail a certain type of market. So the mug, think about what is my features of the mug? Is it microwavable? Is it handmade? Is it from is it made from a certain type of material? Think about all the unique things that make it special. Is it made in the USA? People love that nowadays because the USA has really good quality standards and people know that around the world. So think about all those small little things that might even be insignificant. Is your product organic? Is it cruelty free? Think about all those key features because people love to feel good when they're buying something. So if you can
Right.
showcase that it's going towards a good cause, if you can put that it's a minority owned business, that it's a woman owned businesses, people are loving to do that now. Amazon now has it where you can basically select that. It's one of the filters. I want to shop from minority owned brands. I want to shop from women owned brands. Think about maybe even trying to get some of those things tagged in your products. That way you're standing out that much more, right? And so to get back to it, I guess to better answer to finally answer your question, because there's no simple way to do it. It's just have the right expectations of what you're getting into and do a little bit of your own research. So for the brand that came up to us with nothing, the benefit of her was that she was coachable. I think that's the second thing I would say, right? Because when you know nothing, I know you shouldn't just take advice from anyone, but be open to new ideas. And so one of the things that I've seen for some of the brands that work with us that don't get ahead is because they feel like they've been doing things their way for so long that they basically feel like, oh yeah, everyone's gonna buy my product. No, I don't need to do this. Or no, everyone's gonna get it. And it's like, no, people aren't just gonna immediately snap their fingers and understand the product just like you do. Again, you're an expert. You have to make things super simple. Have infographics, right? Have those pictures with amazing bits of um, of information about why your product is great, about having pictures of models that show people that are your target customers so people can connect with it, right? And know who it's for. And again, you don't have to spend a ton of money for this. You can probably even, maybe try to have a family member, but have a really good camera. If you wanted to get a photo shoot, but we do Photoshop really well, so we can make things work. But it's just, have their expectation, be coachable, and I would say be ready and patient. Don't have this be something where essentially you're depending, you're trying to pay your rent through your business and all this stuff. You're starting from scratch now.
Something you mentioned before, you used the word iconic, which is so wonderful because that happens to be our theme for the Flourish Media Conference
Right.
here in Miami, Florida. Every year, Behind the Leaf hosts the Flourish Media Conference, which is
Mhm.
a matchmaking event for angel investors, funders, and resources for women small business owners. We've been doing this event now. This will be the seventh year that we are hosting this conference here in Miami, Florida, and it's the number
Mhm.
one way and container that we connect and support women businesses to get to the money faster. So you talked a little bit about
Mhm.
saying making your product unique by looking at the practicalities. Is it cruelty free? What is it made of? How do you use it? And being able to tell that story online. One of the things that we talk about a lot when it comes to building your business is being
Mhm.
financially literate and understanding what does it look like and what does the investment of time versus money look like, and the fact that you will always have to invest time versus money. If you agree, put that down in the comments. Make sure that you're staying connected. And if you ask your question and we haven't gotten to you just yet, please know that we will. If we don't get it in the video, then we'll definitely answer it in the chat. So don't hesitate to ask your question. As you are thinking about budgeting, you mentioned that the ads that we're talking about, the investment of cash money, is in Amazon ads. They're not in Google ads, not in Facebook, they're not in LinkedIn. They are Amazon ads. And that you're identifying your business because you want to be searchable. You want people to find you, that find your
Mhm.
product. Now, in addition to that, you also talked about time and the fact that if you're going to grow your business, this is probably not from scratch. This is probably not
Mhm.
something that you're going to do today and be able to pay your rent at the end of 30 days. You talked
Mhm.
about having an investment of time. So if it's $100 per day, you're looking at least $3,000 per month in ads. What are some of the additional things that people need to be prepared to invest in as they are building their product based business? When it comes to time first, and then we'll come back to the money. So time first. What's the investment of time?
Got it. I want to quickly make sure people aren't skid over the $100 a day. I would say recommend usually 20, but then over time, keep reinvesting your money. And then eventually, let's say a few months down the line, then you can maybe start giving yourself a small slice. But yes, the other things to invest in, I would say, rather than ads, I would say your photos. That's really, really, really important. And just to give you one short example, there's one of our companies that we had talked to, and basically they got on Amazon early. And if you guys know, back in the day, Amazon was very much like the wild, wild west. Everything was sold there. It was super easy. No one cared about how the pictures looked. And so basically, she had Jamaican black castor oil, and she was number one. She used to sell 30 plus of them a day. But the thing was, she used her smartphone, and it was just photos back from 2016. And just think about 2016 smartphones, right, compared to now. So she was basically saying how she was slowly losing her market because the fact was she had over, I think, 200 sales, 200 reviews, uh, but she was losing out to people who, looking at their pages visually, were way better photography, way better keywords, way like they basically had nailed it. They looked like something you'd find in a high end boutique. And the thing was, her product was costed less, but the thing was, it didn't look and it didn't sound like what people were looking for. So basically, she went from basically owning the whole market to basically having her sales drop, I believe, by about 75% in just the past year. And I think genuinely it's because she didn't invest in managing and updating her page. So aside from the photography, I would say don't just use everything on your Amazon as like you set it and forget it. This is an ongoing thing. So for example, just like how stores change up their look for Halloween and for Christmas, for Valentine's Day, as a brand, you should start to keep on top of some of those different shopping events because people are going to look for it. They're going to be like, Valentine's Day gifts for men or for women, Mother's Day gifts, Christmas gifts, or whatever. Change up your keywords for your product when you can to adjust to those certain holidays. So people are searching for those things, your product will show up. And by updating it, that can basically mean literally have your product above a gift box. Use subliminal messages. That is easy to do. Put a bow on your product. You can find a bow picture and crop it into your image on Canva, right? Those are small things that you can do that can help get into the mindset of the customer, let them know, oh, this might be a really good gift for that person, or maybe it's a really good Christmas gift. Like, because some people's products are really giftable, but sometimes they never even explain and just put even that small thing, great as a gift. Because sometimes people don't, you're thinking for them. So the next thing aside from doing that, I would say is investing in making sure your brand is well designed. And I say that because going back to the first one where the pictures are important, the design is really important too. For example, your packaging. When's the last time you bought a product in a store where the packaging was the brown box? Probably never, because that doesn't explain it. Even the boxes actually are well designed. If you go and buy boxes from like Walmart, those boxes have some pretty interesting designs on them. They even explain how to use them, everything. Your product needs to basically look up to the par of who you're selling to. Our first brand that we worked with, one of the things we talked to them about was that they were basically selling more, like they were a hair care brand, but they were selling more than Paul Mitchell. They were selling more than the high-end companies, but their product packaging did not look like a high-end company. But she never realized that, and we kept saying it over and over again because we're like, hey, like you sell more than them, it costs way more, but your product isn't. When you look at it, you don't see luxury. You see like a regular plastic bottle that you could probably find in a regular store, which doesn't translate well. So I would say invest in in summary, invest in your photos, invest in your design, and lastly, invest in understanding that this is something you have to constantly update when you market. So invest in your marketing to understand that this is essentially something that I have to update as the holidays happen, as the different times happen, so that way your product is continuously relevant.
Are you getting something out of this? Are you enjoying this conversation? I hope that you are. And if you are, make sure that you hit the like button and comment below. Let us know that you're getting nice, great energy from this conversation here today. When it comes to Flourish Media, we are a marketing, training, and development firm that focuses on helping women get to the money faster. Don't worry, obviously, we are women focused and men friendly. And over the years, we have been able to help so many businesses grow and thrive and quite literally flourish because of focusing on behavioral psychology in the shopping experience, which applies in your product-based businesses as well as service-based businesses. Taking a moment to step outside of ourselves, step outside of your ego and think, what is the experience that my ideal client needs to have in order for them to feel like they like me, like they know me, like they can trust me so that they can buy from me and refer other people. Every single person that you meet as a business owner is someone who's going to be a client or someone who's going to have the capacity to refer a client that can become a champion for your brand. And so as you're thinking about how you're going to invest into your business, I want you to congratulate yourself for getting this far in the video and making sure that you commit to watching to the end, because there's so much information that you're going to get, and you could be anywhere else in the world, as Jay-Z says, but you're here with me. And I think that that is fabulous. So let's talk about the financial part of the investment when it comes to putting your business online and utilizing Amazon sales and the expertise that are there. You started with correcting me and saying it's not necessarily $100 per day. It can start with $20 per day. So let's get into some of the financials of this. Let's talk about the investment into the ads themselves and any others If you believe that when it comes to the photos and making sure that we're doing market research, what is the best investment for that? Is having a really nice smartphone, does that become a tax write-off? Does it make sense? Or do you need to buy a DSLR? Do you need to hire somebody? And then the last piece about, what is the investment if they're wanting to work with you or someone like you, and what is that number? At Flourish Media, we do not shy away from talking about budgets. You know that to work with Flourish Media, our most popular service is the Ultimate Flourish Experience, which does start at this current moment at $40,000 for the year. And I'm sure, I hope, at some point when you're watching this in the future, that it is much, much more, because why not? And so as you are building out your brand and you're thinking about your investment, we need to talk about ads. We need to talk about your materials, your equipment when it comes to those photos and things. And then let's talk about the strategy. What does that investment look like? I'll turn it back over to you.
Yeah, so I would say the investment. I've heard someone even tell me before, like, "Oh, maybe I'll just get the camera myself," and it's like, "Are you a photographer? No, then don't do it." Right? What's the point of buying a really expensive $400 or $500 camera if you don't even know how to use it properly? Because
Several thousands it can be, you guys. Let's be
yeah,
real. It can be several thousands of dollars, and you don't have the expertise. Now you have to take the time to learn how to use it, and you don't have an eye for pictures. You're not the one. You're not the one taking the pictures on
exactly.
vacation when we go out. You're not the one.
Even the Photoshop you have to do because it's not just taking the photo, it's then having to then go back, edit the lighting, editing the shadows. Like those are some small details that people miss. And it's just like, no, hire a professional. And if you can, like for us, we basically do, we can take your product, we can even create a mock-up because I'm not sure if you guys ever noticed that online. A lot of the photos you see on Amazon, those aren't real. Those are digitally made. Any pill bottle you see on Amazon, I guarantee you probably 80% of them are basically made digitally. Why? Because they look great. It's the same reason why you see people like on commercials, those nice juicy burgers you see at McDonald's on the commercials, you never see that in real life. Those
Computer.
burgers are never sizzling, they're never coming off a grill, they're never that shiny, they're never that amazing, period. Right? Because they sell it in the way that people want to receive it. So for us doing like your photos, we charge basically for your main image, basically around $40. If you want to do a mock-up, we charge $60. And again, the mock-ups are great because those are things you can crop into anything. Because we basically try to aim into, we understand that not everyone has a chance to have that perfect lifestyle photo because photo shoots can cost hundreds of dollars. So we essentially try to do everything digitally. And no, I do not go for the fake looking mock-ups. Like we make sure everything looks perfect. We make sure that the lighting, if we're going to add the product there and there's lighting in the background of the photo that we crop it into, that everything looks well, that it's balanced well, that it doesn't seem out of place. And having, I would say, investing in an agency, I would recommend better than Fiverr for one reason, because I've seen when companies try to hop around to different designers to get things done, it comes at the cost of consistency, right?
Say it again. Say it again for the people in the back who don't want to accept reality.
Yes, if you try to hop around getting your services done, especially your design from different people, you will lose the consistency and your brand will start to look, unfortunately, kind of tacky. Right. We have one brand that we've actually seen that we had to come in and help because they used the same company, but the company used different designers. For example, we use the same designer for everything for the brand. So that way, the same person who designs your logo is the person that's going to basically have the creative input when designing your website. So that way, there isn't a loss. I've seen, for example, companies that have an Amazon page that looks completely like a different brand from their website. All of that stuff needs to be the same. It's like when you don't want to go and see, let's say, the brand of, I don't know, L'Oreal it looks different in Walmart versus at a Target. You want everything to be consistent because that's how you look professional. You should look the same and have the same tone and the same imagery wherever you go and someone sees it, because that's how you build your brand presence. A brand doesn't become famous by constantly changing the way they look and feel, because that way just doesn't make sense. It seems like a knockoff, right? You want to be official. And so for us, we charge that. For if you want to do it in full Amazon listing, we charge basically $870. And that basically includes your photos, it includes the infographics, it includes the copywriting that's optimized. So making sure that, for example, if we're selling your product's a food product, we want to make sure it makes people hungry. If it was the photos of the food, we want to make sure it looks delicious. Like that's one of the things that we're really big about, is that it needs to kind of communicate to those kind of like primal instincts, right? Because people shop with their lizard brain. That's the terminology, right? People shop with their emotions. If your product doesn't instantly convey a sense of, wow, I really want to get this, like it just kind of makes them feel good, then you're not going to get that sale. People, even though we're supposed to be rational, we honestly think with our emotions. So your pictures, your words needs to convey a lot of emotion and help someone push them over the edge of just saying, oh my God, this is amazing, this is beautiful, I'm going to press buy. So that's how much we charge for those services for websites. That can vary. I would say roughly from $700 if it's one page, all the way up to 2,000 if it's like a multi-page, 5-page website. And if you want to do like an Amazon storefront, we do charge those starting at roughly $500 and up, depending on the amount of products that you sell. But again, everything that we do, we try to keep everything consistent. No matter where you go, we try to make sure your branding is phenomenal. Even business cards, by the way, we don't promote this, but like we do it. I mean, our designers are awesome. We do everything from business cards, your stationaries, the kind of key things that promote your brand. But if you guys work with us, that's the key thing we try to provide. We try to be the decentralized marketing team for our businesses.
That's beautiful. And I could not agree more. You have to stay consistent when it comes to building brand saliency, to establishing yourself as iconic, being famous for what you know, and subsidizing even your service based business with products, or having a product based business that is a lifestyle brand. The way that it grows is for you to stay consistent, for people to get excited about your brand, to become familiar with it. There's a reason why Nike, Disney, they haven't changed their logo in hundreds of years. Or not Nike, Coca-Cola is who I'm thinking of. Nike, like 50 years or so since they started. They have not changed their logo. And there's a reason for that. It's because you want people to remember your brand and to consistently buy your brand. I have a running joke with my husband. Every type of cereal that I like, they discontinue it, or I have terrible eyes. I try to be pretty for you guys, so I don't wear my glasses when I'm doing these live streams. But I can't see worth a lick. And when I take my glasses off and I'm out in these streets, I'm looking at the label. I'm looking at the colors. I'm looking at these things to find these things. And sometimes I overlook a brand or stop using it altogether, not because I didn't like it, not because it wasn't perfect, not because it didn't solve the problem I was looking for, because it looked different. I didn't know that that's what it was.
Mm-hmm.
How silly is that? Not money lost from the brand and lost from your bottom line simply because your brand is inconsistent. That's a shame. So, as we are wrapping up today, I want to thank you all for being with us in this conversation and encourage you to make sure that you comment down below. Watch this again and again. As you are watching it now, make sure that you put hashtag replay down in the comments, and to make sure that you share your commentary so that you can stay connected. So if they wanted to find you online, where should they look?
Shophowell.com. Move my head back. SHOPHOWELL.com is where you can essentially find us. You can see some of our amazing portfolio and the works that we've done for our clients, and you would to book a consultation. We are basically available whenever you are, so let us know, and basically we'll try to set up a time to basically get on a phone and hear how we can help you. So honestly, it's been amazing. And I got to put it back to you, Vivian, because honestly, like I was telling one of my team members, like, man, I feel like I need to get a little bit more sleep this morning, but like you woke me up. This was amazing. I feel like I was entertained, even though I'm a part of it. I'm just sitting here like this the whole time, just like, she's awesome.
Thank you.
Seriously,
Thank you so
for
very,
hosting
very
this,
much.
and thank you for honestly helping, to dedicating your life to really helping all these amazing women grow their businesses. And one thing we didn't mention, for us, about 80% of the clients that we've helped were women-owned businesses, and that wasn't even part of the plan, right? And that's because that's what we've seen is that, and for those who don't know, Black women are actually one of the largest new group of business owners since COVID started. And I think one of the things that I've seen firsthand is that they are literally like vast majority of our customers. And it's amazing to kind of see the success that's happened and come through this new amazing time of our lives where like online is giving people the chance and the opportunity to grow and scale their businesses in new ways. So it's amazing. Thank you for what you do, and I'm glad I could be a part of helping to make that amazing stuff happen for your community.
Thank you. And if you are getting value out of this and this is adding just so much to you and giving you time to go, I encourage you to join our Patreon. Behind the Leaf is a 501c3. We are focused on helping women get to the money faster, and we're able to do activities like this, trainings like this, brought to you because of our amazing donors. And if you're enjoying this video, I know that you'll enjoy more. So you can become a part of our Patreon and become a subscription donation. Or you can join us at the Flourish Media Conference in Miami, Florida, where we connect women investors with women small business owners with angel investors and resources. And that is our #1 fundraiser for the entire year. So we focus on the Flourish Media Conference, and then we offer Publisher in the fall, which is our book fair for women authors. Another place for you to sell your stuff on Amazon, ladies and gentlemen, because obviously Amazon's connected to Kindle, and such is an awesome opportunity for you to share your story on a massive scale, but to do it strategically and to do it smartly so that you can make sure that you get the best results. Thank you so much for watching. And if you're enjoying this video, go ahead and check out the other videos that are connected here on YouTube, and you can stay connected with us. Thank you so much for watching, and continue to flourish.